We'll start off with senior linebacker Aiden Fisher. We'll start with Matt and then go to Zach.
Aiden, what have you seen from Alabama? Your coach just talked about big guys up front, obviously on the perimeter, athleticism, just in, a quarterback who's done a lot this year. What have you seen? What are the obviously I know keys are kind of the same every week, but specifically to them, what do you see that you guys have to really kind of take away?
Yeah, I mean, I think what he said kind of summed it up well. Really good O-line, big, physical, a lot of playmakers on the edge, and really good running backs as well. So definitely have our work cut out for us. This last couple of weeks they've been able to get their run game going. I think that's helped them a lot. And then obviously you have a quarterback who's playing at a really high level right now. Smart player that kind of knows what to do and how to get in and out of checks. Does a really good job identifying blitzes and things like that. So definitely gonna be a challenge for us, but really good football team.
Go Zach on your left, Daniel.
They didn't I don't know much of that Oklahoma game specifically you've watched, but they didn't run it like too explosively in that game. Simpson got sacked 4 times. They were still able to kind of get done a lot offensively. The 34 points, I think, all in the second half. This is kind of a weird way of phrasing it, but like, what's the key to playing a team that maybe can show you that it doesn't need to be balanced offensively to be successful, that it can take a little bit of pressure, that it can be made one-dimensional and can still move and score the ball? Does that change the way you attack a team like that at all?
I think for us, stopping the run is always, priority number one. They did a great job in the past game, the Oklahoma game, especially Ty Simpson. Did a great job kind of extending plays, kind of letting his receivers get downfield, get open, a lot of scrambling. And he did a good job running the ball when he had to. But I think for us, it's just going to be about, staying disciplined, when he is on the move. Got to do a great job of, sticking to guys, make sure they're not getting open down the field. And then containing the quarterback when it comes down to, when you need to keep him in the pocket.
Staying left with Daniel and then go to Pete.
As a guy who I would imagine has spent more time with Haynes than a lot of people have, how much have you kind of seen him grow since 2022? And just how much has he meant just throughout the arc of from low, not highly recruited guy, to here?
Yeah, I've seen Coach Haynes, not only his scheme, but him as a coach grow a lot. He's always been a great teacher, and I think he's just gotten better and better. Over the last 4 years I've been with him, his scheme has blossomed into something that, everybody's taking notice of across the country now. And then for me, he just instills a lot of confidence in me. He does a great job, not only telling me, what to do, but, how to do it, why we're doing it and things like that. I think that's why he's such a great teacher. But, obviously I wouldn't be where I am without a coach like that, especially, it being Coach Haynes himself. But just a great person to be around, a fantastic coach, somebody that just believes in his players a lot. And I think that's why we all play so confident, because he has the confidence in us.
Go top row to Pete and then Nicole.
Yeah, Aiden, I'm curious, kind of following up on that. Do you have an interesting story about Coach Haynes, funny, enlightening, just something that maybe stands out when you think about him that he brings to the table?
Yeah, I got a lot of them. The one that me and him joke around a lot about is like some of the old meetings we used to have at JMU, and then comparing them to now. And I think when you talk about like growth, like that's where he's kind of taking that next step. There was a story about we had a situation at JMU where we had a guy go in, a young guy, and just guy didn't really pan out. Obviously it was a tough situation, and just seeing how he handled that meeting versus how he does it now, it's just night and day. Not to say it was bad or anything, but the teaching is there, the coaching was there, but now it's more so okay, why are we doing it? When are we doing it? How are we doing it? Not just this is what you need to do. So I think he's just taken all the the right steps into being a great coach, and now a great mentor to a lot of these players, to where it's not just football. Here's a line on a paper, you gotta go do this. It's why are you doing it, when are you doing it, how are you doing it, and I think that's what's made everybody so much better, and especially linebacker room. But he's just done a great job developing the scheme, developing the players into exactly what fits this defense and this team. And he's a fantastic coach, and he deserves every award and recognition that comes his way.
Third row middle to Nicole and then Zach B.
As we inch closer and closer to the game, as one of the leaders on this team, how do you kind of talk about balancing the ability to revel in this experience, which will be very unique, but then also being able to kind of like stay locked in and not make it bigger than it has to be moving forward into the game?
Yeah, for us, it's just another game. When you approach it, we're in a one-game season right now. I tell linebackers every single day after practice, it's got to be championship preparation. Every single day it's a one-game season. We're all fighting for our lives to play one more game after this, and it just kind of keeps going like that for the rest of this year. But obviously, a big game to be a part of, a special tradition that I think once we're there, maybe we'll give ourselves like 10 minutes to kind of soak it in a little bit. But for us, I think it'll be a lot better to be a part of if you come out on the winning side. So just staying focused and knowing that it's not going to be as fun to celebrate if you're not on the winning side. So I think that's the most important thing right now.
Going right to Zach B and then to Mike.
Coach Haynes talked about the competitive nature of D'Angelo Pons, even in walkthrough and practice and whatnot. Where have you seen D'Angelo's competitive nature really shine through this year?
Every time he takes the field, he's a competitor. When he first got to JMU and then coming here, he's always been a quiet guy. And then throughout this summer, I'm not a quiet guy. So like if I'm out there doing something, I want to be talking to people. Just kind of like checking your temperature, see what you're about. And this year, he started talking back a little bit when we're doing like just the smallest drills, like sprints or cone drills, just kind of something where there's competition involved. And he started to get a little vocal this year. So I think he's kind of found his voice, but everything he does is competition. If you watch him in individual periods, he's competing with himself more than anybody. But if somebody else is next to him, he's going hard because he wants to win that rep. And then 7-on-7, if it's good on good for us, I don't think he's had any catches on him all year. So in practice, but he's just such a good competitor, and I think that's why he's so good at his craft. Is because every rep isn't just a practice rep. It's something where he can really improve and hone in on his technique and details, and I think that's just his approach and what makes him so good.
Go left to Mike and then wrap in the room with Ken.
Yeah, Aiden, before you were in here, Brian Haynes said, he used to run 4-3, very regimented, kind of just against certain personnel with tight ends. And now he's kind of expanded that because Isaiah Jones is so talented. But playing those looks, is it any more fun or anything different about playing with the two linebackers beside you more often than you have kind of throughout your career? What do you like about it? And has that been enjoyable kind of in this last year for you?
I mean, I love all my teammates, but if I can get more linebackers on the field, we definitely want to. I spend a lot of my time with those guys, so if I can get in there and we're all celebrating together, it's a lot better. But I mean, regardless who we put in, they're going to be productive and they're going to play well. I think having those two other linebackers, I know that those guys are on the same level as me in terms of knowing the scheme and then studying the opponent. Like we'll come in here and watch film together, so I know if I'm seeing a small little detail, it kind of gets to a point where like I don't have to say anything. I can look over to my left and there's Roe, look over to my right and it's Isaiah, and we're all kind of keyed in on the same thing. So it's really nice to have those guys on the field at the same time. And it just allows our scheme to be so more multiple. We can do a lot more things, if that's blitzing, if that's hiding coverages, if that's, different run fits. It just helps us out so much. And, Coach Haynes has talked about it, and we've done it a couple times in games. Like, we'll go 3 linebackers versus, any personnel set. And I think if you can do that with a team, it makes it really hard for an offense to kind of know where to attack you, especially if you have so many guys that can play so many different positions and do so many different, job descriptions, which is really good for us.
Third row right to Ken, and then we'll go on to the Zoom with Scott.
It's your second time going through the college football playoff experience. What did you learn last year that is helping you prepare maybe better this year than last year when you were inexperienced at it?
Yeah, eliminate every single, media outlet from here on out. We've had, 3 weeks now to kind of prepare for this game. And, throughout those 3 weeks, everybody's Indiana's biggest fan now. But when the season started, nobody was a fan of Indiana. So it's all these different things being told to you and, how good you are and how great you are. That's where I think you can kind of get lost into it. And a great example is when you look at last year with the number 1 seed, I think it was Oregon, when they went and played their game. It kind of is like the same, timeline and everything and, what they did. But I think it's different for us. We're not listening to any of that stuff. It's all about, every single day that we've had in this preparation has been how can we get better as a team? How can we get better as, a player, a defense, an offense, a unit? And I think we've taken all the right steps in order to eliminate all that and to make sure we're the best team going into this game and to start fast and not just kind of get rolling again to kind of after all this time, but we're going to be ready to go.
All right, we'll go to the Zoom with Scott Dockerman from The Athletic first, and then Adam Rittenberg.
Yeah, Aiden, I wanted to ask you kind of about how you have prepared, or I should say mentally prepared differently, potentially one year over the other. And I wanted to kind of see how you filtered everything with the Ohio State game in 2024, and then how that altered in 2025, such as what did you see, how did you process it, how did you work with Coach Haynes, and then ultimately how different was Ohio State, and how did that help you grow as a linebacker from a mental focus perspective?
Yeah, I think for me, my preparation kind of took a step this year. There was a podcast that Luke Kuechly was on, and he talked about, the things that he does to prepare for a game throughout the week. And it kind of starts with, different routines on different days, and kind of, addressing different situations, if that's, normal downs, third downs, red zone, short yardage and situational football. So kind of not throwing everything in together at once, but really looking through the tape, one day at a time, starting on Sunday right after the Saturday's game. And I think what I took the most from the Ohio State game last year to this year is just the mentality we went into the game with. Especially watching film with Coach Haynes and how he kind of breaks it down. I think last year we went into that game with the underdog mentality where, we didn't kind of go in thinking, we're going to win this game no matter what. This year we did. It was regardless, what it takes, whatever we have to do, we're going to come out of this game with a win. And I think just having that different mindset is so much better for us, rather than, you're the underdog, you're the however many point favorite or underdog. Like, it didn't really matter to us at the end of the day. It was all about how can we be the best team that's going to put our best foot forward to, come out with a win. And I just think, a different approach to my preparation with the different, film tactics I've been using has been, working out for me and, doing a lot better, especially the things I wanted to improve on from last year with, zone coverage and, block sheds and stuff like that. I've been able to kind of key in on, certain details that have helped me out and allowed me to be more effective this year.
Thank you.
And last one on the Zoom will come from Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.
Yeah, Aiden, I think a lot of us on the outside kind of marvel at how all you guys who came over from JMU have been impact players right away at Indiana. What does that say about Curt Cignetti and just the way he evaluates players and the things he looks for to bring all you guys over, but also identify other transfers and help other players that are already at Indiana get better?
Yeah, I mean, this staff and the track of development that they've had is unbelievable. You can look at really any position, if that's quarterback to O-line to corners, linebackers, D-line, it's unbelievable what they do. And it's all about the preparation and, the work that you put in. A lot of it comes back to our strength coach, Derek Owings, who is taking, we were supposed to be built for a group of 5. You come here, he's done a phenomenal job, kind of building bodies to transition into the Power 4 level, especially in the Big Ten. He is unbelievable at what he does. The stuff that he puts into this, if it's nutrition, weight training, speed training, he's just really good at everything he does. And then this coaching staff has done a great job not only developing, the skills and kind of the abilities you can do on the field, but it's so much more mental in this game of football than it is to just go out there and know how to tackle somebody. I think that's what separates this staff from a lot of staffs in the country. It's not about, just go do your job. It's why are you doing it? How can you get it done in a variety of ways to ultimately complete the job description? And, I think that's the biggest thing for us is, knowing a scheme inside and out, and that you can get to your end job description by doing it in a variety of ways can definitely keep an offense on their toes. And I think that's what has been so useful and effective for us.
Great. Thanks, Aiden.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.